Hello, everyone. Sarah here with Dream Oracle for you. This is just a quick message before today's episode begins. I just wanted to remind everyone that we have an upcoming live episode this coming Saturday that will be at 7:30 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Savings Time in North America, or 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, or this will be at 8:30 a.m. in Australian Eastern Time on Sunday, June 8th. So please tune in for our live episode. This is a great opportunity if you want to share dream experiences, or you have questions about dreams, or even if you just want to comment on any of the content that we've talked about in various episodes. We'd love to hear from you. To be on the live Zoom call, you do need to register. You will be able to participate, though, through the chat, but if you would like to actually physically talk to us, you do need to register with the Zoom link. So look in the description for the link and check us out. We look forward to seeing you for our first live show. And now with our episode for today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dream Oracle for You. I am your host, Sarah. I'm very excited today. Today is episode 33, which is a nice numerological number, and so I'm sure today's episode will hold up to the energy of the 33. And today we have a special guest, and her name is Biba Logan. Biljana and I have been so excited for the last week for this episode. And I can't wait for Biba to also introduce herself in a few minutes. But thank you, Biba, for agreeing to be on our show. We are super excited to have you here. As always, Biljana, please welcome us to the episode.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, when you sent me the email that Biba was coming, I was like, yes, awesome. Because I've listened to a few of your interviews, and I can't remember how I come across your like what you do, but it was maybe about a year ago, and and then I jumped on your website and I seen like you're an artist as well, and I was looking through all your artwork, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. Like, yeah, so you've got a number of talents or gifts to share. So yeah, I'm really excited to hear what else that you're into, and spread the love. So you want to introduce yourself, and we'll
Yeah.
go from there.
Well, welcome everybody to the Dream Oracle for You, and I'm very happy to be here today. I was invited by both of you, and it's always a very nice experience to be invited onto a podcast by somebody who wants to hear. You know what I mean? Because I've got my own podcast and I only interview people I want to hear. It's not because it's the date or it's the number or it's the name. It's like I really want to know what that person has to say, and and I find that's just how these things work really well, because there's an energy involved in it that's like symbiotic, right? And for me, I was talking to my mum this morning, and she's unwell at the moment, and she's been in bed for the last month. And she says, "What day is it?" I says, "I just don't know." And she said, "Why don't you know?" And I said, "Because it's something's shifted for me in the last 6 months. Days have become very irrelevant, like the name of the day and the time of the day. It's like I'm off that at the moment. And it's like I can breathe again. It's like I'm not on a time clock. I'm not I still get to manage to do my things. Like I haven't gone totally mad, but it's just everything is shifting. And how to introduce myself is also interesting, because like you, I'm in a body, but I'm not the body that I'm in. And I am very acutely aware as I experience time that I'm not a body, because I'm living outside of time. And it's really hard to articulate this stuff. And I remember once I interviewed a walk-in, and he was telling me about the event horizon that's coming. That's like, the new earth, the golden age, the age of Aquarius, all that stuff, right? And the apocalypse of the old. And he says what's going to happen is time will just kind of fade, and your needs and desires will fade. It's like everything that you've known begins to fade, and you just become very aware of your existence through eternity. And I'm like, whoa, this sounds like I'd like to enjoy that ride. And I used to identify myself as lots of different things. In my 20s, I was a vegan and I was a yoga teacher and I was in AA programs, and I had all these labels, and the labels helped me understand myself. They were wonderful tools to help me navigate this person in this world, because this world was very challenging for me growing up. As it is for most of us, right? But then as I got older, I became more fluid with myself, where I didn't need to be anything. I just didn't need to. I realize it's not what you do, it's who you are. And the work that I do with people is just communicating with people and communicating with myself and communicating with life. And that could be talking to the earth, it could be talking to beings, it could be talking to my cat or my mum or my plant, because we are multidimensional. And the reason why I wanted to do this podcast when you invited me on is because dreams are not dreams. They're not dreams. Like, I do hypnosis, right? But hypnosis isn't like hypnosis, what you see in the movies. It's like these words are misinterpreted. And through movies and societies and cultures and civilizations, like if you go back to dreams through the Native Americans, right? I mean, those dreams were golden, because the dreams was your soul telling you what's happening. And dreams weren't just, oh, I had a dream. It's like, no, you didn't just have a dream. It's like saying, well, I just kind of went to work. Well, what happened? Like, it's very real, and it's just part of your multi-dimensional self in these dimensions. So you're in your waking state. So when I work with people, I'm very aware of the mind. That's my cat scratching. And the mind is compartmentalized when it's in a body. But when you meditate or when you journey or whatever you do to get out of your body, you become aware of the dimensions. And when you're dreaming, you're in the different dimensions. Your body's resting, but your actual soul, your essence, is in the dimensions. And so I work with people in dimensions, and I help them navigate through the noise of what's not real to get to the real, which is into your heart, into your soul, and into your essence, where your whole story is, all the answers, all the solutions, all the relief. That's kind of where I'm at with what I do currently. And it's far out, actually. It's far out.
It definitely is. I mean, accessing and helping people navigate dimensions is quite amazing. And, it's kind of one of the purpose of our podcast is to help people navigate dreams. So I guess in a way, we're kind of working similar roles, but from different perspectives, or through a different modality, I guess, which is kind of cool.
It is, yeah. Like dreams, if you have a gift, like if you have the ability to interpret dreams, that's like an astrologer, right? Can interpret your birth chart and can interpret this. It's like a skill. It's a real skill, because you can say, well, I dreamt of this, but 90% of people they'll not get the message.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Do you ever have someone read your birth chart and you're like, whoa, and then someone else reads it and it doesn't mean anything to you? Like, some people if we understood our dreams, this life would be much easier.
100%. I definitely agree with that. Something we've said on this podcast before is that dreams are an opportunity to have an 8-hour therapy session. Basically.
Every day.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. I haven't had time to dive into this one. I was telling this to Biljana just before we started the call. But last night I actually dreamt about Dream Oracle for you. But it was like I was 20 minutes late for the episode, and there was all this tech issues that was going on. Mm-hmm. It was really funny, but yeah.
So what does that mean?
I love that. Yeah, so you go. Sorry, Biba.
Yeah, what does that mean, that dream, to you?
Yeah, as I said, I haven't had time to fully process it yet. There was there was just more, there was a little bit more to it as well. So our first guest of 2025, not our first guest on the podcast, but our first guest of 2025, Narita McInnes, who is actually how I found out about you, Biba, was through listening to Rock the Ripple. And It's actually how I found Biljana as well, and then discovered I needed a co-host for the show. So Narita has been quite integral to bringing the right people together for this podcast. And it's how I found Lay Love Down as well, which Biljana and I are also part of. Have you met Rachel Vaughn? Can't remember if you have yet. No, okay. Lay Love Down. It's about. I know I'm going on like 5 tangents here now, but Lay Love Down is about working with the ley lines of Earth and just basically sending love and harmony and balance to the ley lines to help Mother Earth as we all ascend or, shift into the next reality together. So that's what Biljana and I are a big part of that as well. And we've met a lot of great people through that. So Narita has been integral to bringing or helping bring the right people together for that. So she was on the podcast last night in my dream, and she had invited 2 other guests on that we didn't know anything about. But again, as I said, there was like tech issues. So we were trying to do this like full screen thing with 5 people, and it wasn't quite going on. I was 20 minutes late. And the other thing is that it was like a live episode too, which we do have a live episode coming up. Not the next episode, but the next one, which I think is actually just next week. I'm going to do a more formal introduction to that when I edit this video. But and there were like 14 guests that were online. And so all this tech issue was like 10 minutes before the episode actually started. And then I decided to address the people online. I was like, oh, thank you all for being here. This is really great. And then they all disappeared. And then I woke up. So I'm like, what is all of this?
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. My dreams are often very vivid, and there's usually quite a lot that's going on. But I do find sometimes that when you dream actively every night, like there's just not enough time in the day to fully decode and go through it all. So, but one of the first things I do when I wake up is like, okay, was that dream important, or was that just, fun, or was it random? We've talked about dream manipulation before in this episode. I'm not sure if, or in this podcast, sorry. Not sure if you've had any experiences with dream manipulation.
Altering your dreams.
Well, altering your dreams would, I guess, classify under like a high level lucid dreamer, but dream manipulation just being in like other forces or other beings that can actually interfere and influence how your dreams go.
They're there all the time, those
Oh yeah.
yokes, aren't they?
Oh
They're
yeah.
always interfering with the network. It's like, seriously.
Give me a night off.
Like, serious. Just go and play with somebody else, because I'm done entertaining you.
Go watch TV,
That's what it's designed
I'm
for.
sleeping, you go watch TV.
You were going to ask something
Yes.
there, Biljana.
It'll come back.
It'll come back. But yeah. Well, for me, with interpreting my dreams, I started journaling, and I go back to it every now and then, but I kind of I try to step away from it being a mental exercise, and like instead of trying to interpret them day by day, to kind of let it integrate into my everyday life. And I found that is so much better than trying to like sit there and go, oh, what did that mean? Or like, no, like, I sit with how it makes me feel after I've woken up. Like if I'm really anxious, then if it's something in my, daily life that I need to deal with. But if it's kind of just, something to wake up and I feel good, then I just kind of let it, I suppose, flow with the day. Because kind of to remember everything, because down the track I will remember what I need to remember. So that's trying to put it into words.
It's like you're allowing, I find different energies come through dreams. And one of the differences between Biljana and Biljana really focuses on kind of the feelings in her dreams or how it makes her feel. But for myself, I feel that my dreams speak a lot through symbols. And for me, it's like interpreting what symbols mean. And so, the being 20 minutes late, that's the number 2 energy, and it's amplified by the 0. And 2 is a love energy. So, I feel that, especially since we had Georgina Grace on here to talk about numerology, I find that my dreams have evolved, that I'm noticing numbers in my dreams more. And it's like each number has an energy that's associated with it. And so that comes through the dreams. So for you, Biljana, where you're into the feelings of things, it's like you're allowing the energy to come through in your dreams through a feeling, and then you're carrying that with your day. So you're like receiving the messages through what the energy actually is, which is kind of cool.
Very cool, because there's different, we're all so different in how we receive information and how we how we gather information, and how the universe presents us information is different, right? So that's why there's so many things. But one thing about dreams for me, it's not really I have had wild dreams like all of us, but just like they're not dreams. I know that when I'm in this body, it's like this is the dream world for me. And I spend my time really observing this time in with these physical eyes, because I'm more aware here than I am anywhere else that I'm currently aware of, right? So when I'm dreaming, it's just there's the release from this place. And then my soul goes and does what it wants to do. And like every your essence. So I don't I'm inside of my essence. It's not inside of me, soul or spirit, like it's not in me. I'm enveloped within it. And when this body rests, it does its thing. And I think it's always doing its thing multidimensionally across timelines. There's multiple realities, of fractals of realities, all symbiotically happening all at the same time, like juggling 100 balls. But when we dream, it's all just exactly as it needs to be. And then when I wake up, it's all the words are backwards, but when I wake up, it's like, right, so I'm here now. What is this day going to present to me? And I'm very aware of what the day presents to me, the choices that I make in each moment. And when I used to look at my dreams, I used to write my dreams and analyze my dreams, and then they just got really far out. Like you just don't bother, because you're just like, whoa. Like I would wake up and not know who I was and where I was, and but I knew myself without a body. I knew what I am, but like, how did I get here? And this is no joke. This went on a lot. It went on 2 or 3 times a week. It's like, what is this? Is my home. This is my home. Where is my home? And I'd look out and I think it's in the mountains. And then I think I have a kid inside. I have a daughter. I'm a mom. I'm a mom. Like this would go on and on and on. And then I realized that I am that, whatever that is outside of this body, that's what I am. And so that excites me. It wasn't unnerving. And when I wake up, I'm very aware that I have an opportunity to play this instrument well, which is this life. I have an opportunity to really play it well, because if I'm stuck in fight or flight, and if I'm stuck in anger and resentments, I don't want to do that anymore. I just want to stay on the sunny side of the street, where I think, right, life is constantly presenting opportunities for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Do you know what I mean? Like, what am I doing here? What are you doing here? Genuinely, what are you doing here? It's like, well, let's find out what I'm doing here. And the dreams, when I'm more in tune with this life, and I'm very fine tuned to the synchronicities and the numbers or whatever it is, right? The feeling, it's like there's a lot of peace in my dreams, that peaceful. But when I'm in fear or anger or resentments, my dreams are like heavy, like epic war dreams, where you wake up exhausted, right? Exhausted, because you're thinking, I had heavy depression for decades, right? And I would wake up like I just did 12 hours on the front line of a war. I mean, physically wrecked. I'd wake up wrecked. But when I cleaned myself up and did the work on myself, I just wake up now, it's kind of like my eyes, it's like I'm not asleep. It's like I just open my eyes and I'm like, here I am in this place. What's this day all about? Like, why am I here another day? And it's a gift. It's a real gift to be here,
Oh,
isn't it?
absolutely. Oh, I could listen to you all day. Just everything that comes out is just gold. It's beautiful.
Listen, I want to tell you an experience I had because this is far out. Like, I did an interview with a woman called Judy Carroll, and Judy Carroll has a thing called dual consciousness, right? So she is an ET. She's an extraterrestrial being in another dimension, but she's also human. So we're all that. But she came in with the full awareness of both. So I've got the awareness of Biba. And then when I meditate, I've got the awareness that I'm more than that. But she's come in fully conscious and fully aware of these two parts of who she is. So when she's asleep, she's on a spaceship and she's one of them little, the grays, right? And so I interviewed her and I said to her, like, um, we talked about dreams and a lot of dreams. She said, when you are having experiences, ETs and in your own planet, or if you're with a group of beings, if you're from Sirius or wherever you're from, wherever you're from at this time, because you're not really from anywhere, but whatever tribe you're connected to, it's whether it's the Lyrians, the line beings, or whatever, right? Or angels, whatever you believe in, let's say. And then there's the physical. She said, when your body sleeps, you go home and you do the work that needs to be done at this time in that dimension. And so I said to her, like, I had a dream. I had a dream, like, whatever. And I was in a comet. And inside of this comet, the comet was moving really fast. And there was a window. And this, I didn't see it, but it said, do you want to look out the window and see you're traveling the universe? And I was like, no, it's just going too fast. Like, it's a lot to deal with that. I just don't want to, I'm in the comet, but I don't want to look out the window. And then I was in this comet looking around, but it was a spaceship and but was hidden as a comet. And when I looked down, and on the ground there was this like a 50p. There was like a tetrahedron silver circle. And I looked at it and I said, oh, that's interesting. And when I communicated with that thing on the floor, it like a transformer, it just do, and it went into this geometric shape. And I said, oh, I know that. I know what that is. And in that second, I came back into my bed, right? And I pulled all of the muscles down the one side of my body. Like I came in so hard that I was in agony. And she said, no, that's not a dream. You were on a spaceship, but you came back too fast. So you jolted in too quickly. And this happens a lot, not like all the time. It comes in waves, right? You get waves of experiences. But I had a wave of experiences where I was driving spacecrafts. Now, I'm not like a contactee, right? Where I talk about an ET came into my room and it paralyzed me and we went onto a spaceship and it got all the weird shit out and it did all that kind of stuff. It's like that never happened to me. However, I've been on a lot of spaceships in my dreams. And she said, they're not dreams, they're your experiences. And you have told yourself to make it a dream to cope with it. So we are the monitors of ourselves. I said, but are you like, would you take somebody? Because they do take people to help them. I said, when you take them and they come back, and she says, they're the ones that tell themselves how much they want to remember, or do they want to remember it as a dream? It's not really real, but it was an interesting dream. So we're the ones that are in, it's not like, oh, my memories were blocked or my memories are blocked from my dreams. So if you want to know more, say to yourself before you go to sleep, I want full recall in this now moment about everything. Like be the captain of your own ship before you go to bed at night, right? You just send the instructions out. And if I feel there's like a weirdness around, like just a heaviness, what I'll say is before I go to sleep is nothing has permission to come near me tonight, like in any dimension or time. Nothing has permission. So I kind of do that a lot to safeguard myself from the whatever that is.
Absolutely. It's living by intention, right? And that's one of the things we talk about here is having intention with your dreams and being able to, if you can take control of your dreams, then you really can take control of your life as well.
Big
something
time.
that
Yeah.
we believe in.
Yeah. I love that you explain that in that way. Like we normally say, with your intention, but saying it in that way makes it a lot clearer, like you want full recall. I'm
Yeah.
going to try that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, because
Because,
you're talking to
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
You know,
So, because, yeah, like I do it when I'm awake, and also before I go to bed, but to make it more, I suppose, powerful. And because I do want to remember my dreams, especially if I'm, like you say, if there's heaviness around, or you want to be able to protect yourself and you don't want, any interference, which I had before I met Sarah. And I think that's why we met, like to then start talking about dreams, because I was having some like really weird dreams and just a lot of heaviness every time I did like any sort of journey in meditation. So I think that helped me through that. So, and then understanding all that sort of stuff to then protect myself, when I'm journeying or like when I go to sleep. So yeah, I love that. Yeah. So
yeah, you're right though as well, because if you are very psychic, right? And psychic really means for me, my senses are activated, all of my six senses, all of my senses as a being, not as a human, because my senses as a human are all good, but I mean as a being. Like if they're activated, so you're knowing, your intuition, your sensing, your hearing, your clairaudient, your clairvoyant, your vision, you can clear vision of your internal world with your inner eye. Like when you have that, even one of them, if you have even one ability to smell flowers when there's no flowers, or to see, like, does someone ever talk to you and you can see it? Well, you can just see it in the pictures in your mind, or you get a message for someone. So when you have those abilities turned on, because we all have them, but when they're activated, and you can ask for them to be activated, you can ask yourself to activate them. You can actually take full control of your realities. Actually, you can take full control. Like, and you just have to believe in yourself, because I've done quantum healing sessions with people, like as the one lying down on the bed, and I'll say, right, and I don't tell her what my intention is, because she doesn't need to know that, because I don't want her opinion on it. And the reason why I don't want her opinion on it is because I don't want her tainting my intention with her input, unless she's where I am. Like you two are on the same page, right? And I remember I was doing this QHHT session, and I wanted to go outside of time and go outside of space and time and meet the prime creator of this particular universe, and speak to it. And I wanted to speak to the keepers of time and the watchers of all of this. Barbara Marcinek talks about them, and I wanted to have the conversation that, like, I do not give you permission to turn me off from my realities. Like, I want full soul sovereignty to know who and what I am across all space and time. And she was like, no, you can't ask that.
Mm-hmm.
I was in, well, actually I can. And she goes, no, you have a veil there for a reason. And I thought, oh God, like,
But you have free will, and if that's what you want, then
it's what I want.
it's a universal law. So
It's like, that's what I want. And then I think as well, like, you have to sometimes be careful what you ask for, because there's a lot of information that we can't deal with. Like, there's a lot. I was with someone recently, and I had the strangest experience. They sat up in the bed and they looked at me. And when they looked at me, I could see eternity, and I could see their souls journey up until this. And their eyes were looking at me, but they didn't look like them. They looked like 1,000,000 years old. And as time stopped, it was like I got a glimpse into what is, not what I think is or feel is or know. Like you, I'm good at knowing and sensing, but this was a totally different thing. And it's like time stopped, and I was frozen and locked into their eyes, and their eyes revealed to me something, and it actually shook me up. Now, I've seen weird things and experienced things, but this was, my physical body was trying to figure out, what is that? So we could talk about this stuff all day long, but I thought, now I thought, now I understand why those those things are in place. Because the physical body's like, it doesn't even know what to do with that information.
No.
What do you even do with it?
Well, and I
Yeah.
feel that the body kind of has an important role here, which is kind of to keep us safe. So,
Yeah.
and so in that moment, it's like, I don't know how to keep you safe with this. This is like outside of my
It's like,
reality.
goodbye.
This is
Yeah.
beyond the physical, and it doesn't know what to do
Big
with it.
time.
Yeah.
It's
And
beyond
especially if,
anything.
yeah, if you're going through like a shift, like you've become aware and awake of certain things, and you're going through a shift, and then you have a real fit time, then like just feeling that like is hard too. Like you just feel lost and everything. So imagine if you got a lot more of that, yeah,
Yeah.
it'd drive you crazy. So,
Yeah.
you know, we
Yeah.
should be thankful
Amplified.
when you got not getting the full 100%.
Yeah, it's in place, I think, for a reason. But because
Yeah.
of there are manipulators, highly skilled, highly evolved souls that can dominate the certain grids. Um, I'm not interested in that anymore. Um, and my soul knows what it's doing, and I don't need to be mind controlled, or mind altered or influenced with thoughts that aren't mine. And so my work on myself is to become aware of my thoughts and become aware of what I am, and to just not live in red alert at all, but just to be very aware of where the information is coming from and how it feels, and like living with intention. And the intention is that I am sovereign to myself and nothing can dominate me. Because I had depression for so long, I felt like I was a hostage to myself as the only way. And I just lost 20 years of my life because of that. But I didn't, because that was part of my journey. Because when I came out of that, I I would never let anything dominate me again. It was like, I've lost 20 years of my life. I mean, that's a long time when you're only here for 100 years. So it's like, okay, no, you can all just take a hike because you're off my grid. So I had to really realize what I was and not raise my frequency, because I am my highest potential, as Narita would say. Like, I already am that. I just need to remove what's in the way of me knowing that. And when I know I am my highest potential, my frequency can just broadcast light into this realm. And when that happens, they have no access to me as far as I know,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's really an interesting way to think about it, because we often think about that our frequency gets lowered, but I like that perspective that it's not actually our frequency being lowered. We are always at our highest frequency. It's just what I would say is lower vibrational things are just in the way from,
Big
like you
time.
said, us being able to shine completely out. And it's almost like the blocks that are there, or the lower vibrational things that are in the way. It's like it's bouncing the light back to us, so we can't actually shine out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I love that, like you've made space for yourself. And I feel like I'm doing a lot more now, like not listening to music a lot to like as a distraction, but like listen to good music when I feel like it, but not put it in my headphones when I'm working, like when I'm doing planting seedlings and that sort of thing. Like I want to be aware of what thoughts are coming in. And so if they are ones that, I don't want there, or I want to go, hey, what's that there for? Because when you're listening to music or you're blocking it out, you're not, taking notice of it. So I think that's a super important one as well to yeah, to sit with that. A lot of people don't want to sit with that. And I think that's where with dreams, um, that's why people can have really weird dreams, but they just dismiss them because they're not wanting to, dive deep into their own thoughts. And yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. Where would you be going if you weren't diving deep into your own thoughts? Like, where is your mind then? Because I think we're all just cold, but at certain stages. And it's not like somebody who is like yourself, who likes to be in the stillness of yourself when you're in your world to observe what's happening around you and in you. And then there's somebody who's just highly medicated, let's say, on pharmaceutical drugs because they're just not interested in being here really. And they're just trying to get by. Like that's not a less evolved soul. That's just a soul that needs to be exactly where it is, right? And you're
Yeah.
exactly where you need to be. So if you're levitating during your meditation and he's taking more Oxycontin or whatever it is, like, so be it. Because how that soul has its own trajectory and my soul has its own trajectory. So us trying to fit into a system where we're meant to all kind of like wear the same uniform per se, like that's kind of insane. How can um how can each one is unique, has its own journey? Like I've noticed this with quantum healing and multidimensional hypnotherapy. Every soul has got a completely different world and experience. And so it's impossible to judge. Like judging is irrelevant. It doesn't even exist because that soul is, if it's really suffering, like someone was talking about Tina Turner today, had a terrible childhood and then she married a really abusive guy and now she's a Buddhist monk, let's say, but her soul designed, I believe, that David, I could disagree, but I tend to think that we are really the masters of it all. She designed that level of pain in order to produce whatever needed to be produced through her to find that peace here. There's like, I just think that we do that, and that's taking full responsibility and accountability for what's happening in your life and saying, well, well, I was raped when I was, let's say, 15, or I was beaten by my dad, or I was went to school and the nuns beat me. Whatever your story is sad and as sad and as debilitating as it is, you have the power to overcome that. And when you have it in you, and it's not an expectation, because not everybody will do it in this particular lifetime, but when you are able to look at it objectively and go, it's possible that I created all of that. And you have to be at a certain place within your safe place within yourself. And when you get there, it's like the hot air balloon is released because there's no more blame and there's no more anger and there's no more cortisol pumped through your veins. It's just like, okay, so if that happened, then I can change it to this. Then I get to play here. I'm not my story. So say if I'm in a dream last night and I'm 20 minutes late for a podcast and there's 5 people wanting to come on a podcast, I'm thinking, shit, I'm 20 minutes late and I'm so unprofessional, AI technical, blah, blah, blah. Now, so I created that dream, but I could equally create a beautiful dream.
Yeah.
So I'll say to myself before I go to sleep, tell me what you want me to know. Like the messages I'm not getting, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm busy listening to music. So tell me what you want me to reveal to me what you want me to know. And it always does.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Definitely.
Yeah.
And I try to do that not every night, but most times I have that intention to have what I want to come through. But then there's sometimes where I'm like just so tired and I like fall asleep before setting the full intention. It's just like, and then you just go on this wild ride. You're like, okay. So like I had a lucid dream this week. I love when I have like full on lucid dreams. They're just so amazing. And this one, I was underneath water and I could breathe underwater. It was like absolutely beautiful. And I was just enjoying just swimming under the water. And it's funny when you were talking about the ship and there being this like silver kind of circle or whatever. I remember there being some kind of circle in my like in the sand as I was swimming because I was like kind of low to the ground. And then it was interesting because I find, especially if you haven't fully mastered lucid dreaming, so you become aware that you're dreaming and then you get like all excited because you feel like you can control it and everything. And then that's usually when you lose the control. And in that case, like I started to wake up and I felt myself starting to wake up. I was like, no, I want to experience this. I want to really like continue with this lucid dream. And I somehow pulled myself back into control and I got to like keep swimming for a few more minutes. But yeah, it was really cool.
Nice. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not waking up yet. Relax.
Yeah.
Relax. I'm just like checking out the symbol.
Yeah. Exactly.
The bottom of the ocean or whatever, wherever I am.
Yeah, no, it was great. Have you ever had, I mean, you said that you like kind of had muscle issues because you came back too quickly in your body.
Mm.
But have you ever like been somewhere in a dream or gone somewhere and like got injured or like had some sort of physical impact in your dream that then you actually felt on your physical body, like when you woke up or like as you're aware that you're dreaming that you had that?
No, you mean like taking something back from the dream?
No, no, I guess you would. My instance of this is once I got pulled through a portal. And I like literally felt like I was being pulled somewhere. And my shin like hit the edge of the portal, and I could actually feel like the pain, like oh, I just And I woke up. I didn't have a bruise or anything like that, but I remember feeling the like sensation that oh, I just like hurt myself going through the portal.
Yeah, no, what happens to me is not all the time, but occasionally the bed is vibrating.
Mm.
And I remember one time I woke up and I was looking at the perfume bottles to see if there was like an earthquake because we don't have earthquakes in Ireland because the bed was shaking. And I'm like, why is the bed shaking? And I looked at the perfume bottles because they were moving, but my bed was moving. And it's like, what is that? Because in the moment you're not always with it.
Mhm.
You're in different brain waves, and so you're not as cognitive sometimes as I am now with you and you are with me, that we could be quite sharp if something came in. But when you're in that state, that kind of deep, well, I call it an altered state of consciousness where everything's becoming more clear, but you're not something necessarily more clear in this realm.
Mhm.
And the yeah, no, and then my friend said, no, the bed's not vibrating, it's your energy body's vibrating, the
Yeah.
bed. And I'm like, okay, it's just really weird. But I haven't come back with anything on my body or anything like that. I just come back and I have like a whiplash, and
Mm.
that's a lot. It's just like, whoa. It's like, do I come in through my head or something? It's just like boom.
You just
No,
come
and
in
it's
too
really
fast.
painful.
Yeah, you've got to like I don't know
What's the
how to
rush?
I don't know how to describe it, but you have to like let yourself slowly come back in.
I
I
haven't
remember
mastered
once
that.
I remember once when I came back in, I could hear my body snore.
Cheers.
It was just so funny just to be like slowly coming in. I'm like, and I literally like laughed out loud once I was like back in my body. It was just hilarious. Like
Nice.
I'm snoring and I can hear it and I'm aware.
Lovely.
Um,
That's no, I've never had that. Have you had
yeah,
that, Biljana?
no.
No.
I
No, no. I haven't had any like lucid dreams or,
mm,
well, not that I can recall, like traveling. Yeah, like
mm,
not in this moment that I've been. Yeah, I have more. I mean, you wouldn't call them premonitions, but you know, messages that I get of people that I know, and then it's like something has happened. But it's yeah. So I have more of those sort of dreams.
like a little
But
bit
yeah,
prophetic,
wouldn't
you
mind.
mean?
Yeah, prophetic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't mind going on a journey. So
Yeah.
I might
Well,
do that tonight.
yeah, go for it. I mean, it doesn't always happen, but I remember the first time that I really embraced the like leaving of the body, but I was like mortified, like absolutely scared for it to kind of happen. And I just remember hearing like my own thought or voice in my head that was like, no, Sarah, it's okay. You can let this happen. Just relax and just let it happen. And it was just it was just the most beautiful experience to like to have it happen. But there was like some I don't know what the fear was. I don't know if it's just I've got experiences that I've not that my soul has chosen not to fully share with me, perhaps.
Mm.
Um, but I just remember there being this level of fear of leaving the body and whatnot. But now it's like I can feel it when it's about to happen, and I just like welcome it. I was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna do this. But I remember once it was like early on in the like leaving of the body. It's just like you do get kind of like slammed back in, and the vibration you're talking about as well. I felt that as well because that's sometimes like I don't know if it's like when you come back in or it's like when you're trying to like leave. And you know how I've just had this like thought recently. Um, they call it, I think it's called a hypnic jerk or something. A lot of people have this when they're just about to fall asleep, and then like your whole body gets like jolted or whatnot.
Mm.
I actually believe that's, you know, the sensation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I actually think that that sensation is actually when our soul is like trying to leave the body, or essence. Well, I don't know what the terminology is. When you're
Mm.
experiencing leaving your body, I actually think that that's what the hypnic jerk is, and the jolt is like you being aware of it, and then you're like being pulled back in, and you actually don't get to leave in that moment. You have to wait till the body actually fully like falls asleep so you can leave. And then I like compound that with my first experience where I was so afraid to leave. It's like it's almost like I think we do leave our bodies every night. I think that why are we going to stick around in a sleeping body? You know, we're
Yeah.
multidimensional beings. This one's taking a nap. Let's go see. Let's go check out my body and, you know, whatever other reality, and do something over there, or just exist not in a body. You know, whatever maybe. Um, yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. I felt like I'm not sure if I pulled that together in a nice bow, but anyway,
It's
out of
great.
body experiences are fun.
It's really good what you were just saying there is what you were saying about the jolt. Um, and that, you know, Dolores Cannon, right? She was it her? A few people have said it who've done a lot of research, that the soul doesn't enter the body of the baby until it's born. Like, so when the woman's pregnant, the soul, like, it will come. It's there. It knows that there's the mum and the dad and there's the fetus and it's all good. And then it goes, but it's not going to hang around in the belly. It's like it comes and it pays, it watches the house, it watches the family dynamics. Like its awareness is there, but it's not in the belly. And obviously there's a baby developing in the belly, but actually the essence of that, the soul, is comes in just before that baby is born, literally coming through the portal. And sometimes it comes too late, and that's why there's stillbirths. This is what she was saying. And I'm like, this is a whole different stint on babies, right? Like, do we really know? But I like her analogy of that. Like, it will come and hang out to get to know the mom, but it doesn't stay in there because it doesn't need to stay in there because it's like developing.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing happening. The physical body is just being built. The avatar is being designed and it's being built by the DNA and the structure of those ancestors. And then when that's built, then it goes, right, I'm ready to go. And it's like she said, there's a very fine line. It shouldn't come in. And then someone else said, no, the soul doesn't come in till the baby's like 3. And I'm like, 3.
Mm.
Now, my daughter was very much with me when she was born. Like, I'm aware of that. And what about these kids that are happening now? Have you guys seen the telepathy tapes?
I've listened to one
A
or two
little bit, yeah.
episodes, but I feel like I've listened to more like interviews about the telepathy tapes as opposed to the actual the actual thing.
Kids are off the
But,
charts now. Like
oh
they're
yeah.
they're awake. They've come in awake.
Yeah, very high vibrational souls. And it's
Yeah.
interesting that you bring up about the pregnancy thing, and I can't help but think that I was meant to hear that because I'm actually expecting at the moment. So
Yay, are you?
yes. So
Congratulations.
thank
That's
you.
lovely.
It'll be a December baby.
Okay,
Um,
so that's so exciting.
yeah. So it was interesting to hear you talk about that because like I definitely have a relationship already with my child soul that's
Hmm.
coming in, but I definitely was like kind of treating the situation like the soul's already like, you know, there inside. But I think now hearing what you say that I'm like, oh no, like the soul is actually just with me, but it's not
Yeah.
like in me yet.
Yeah, with you. Yeah, exactly. It's not
Yeah.
shoved into a tiny little package in your tiny little belly. It's like, no, we'll wait till there's a bit
Yeah.
of, but that's just one person's observation. It could be, but I
Mm.
like to believe that actually I like the idea of it coming in, just coming into the actual physical body. Because she just said it's an awkward place to be when it's developing. Like, why would it want to
Yeah.
hang out there?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird experience. I mean,
It's like
maybe
living
a
in it's
soul.
like live sorry, but it is. It's like if you're designing an apartment, it's like the builders are coming in. I can't live here when the builders are building the apartment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely, unless you want to like experience it, you know, because I do feel There are some people that say that they remember being inside the womb and everything like that. So it makes me wonder, like, well, maybe the soul has chosen to have that part of the experience, I guess. But
No,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
stay there for a moment because that's a very good point, right? I've studied womb regression and I do that. It's something that I do if it comes up. And you're conscious, you're constantly conscious. So when we go back to say there's a problem and we don't know where this problem is psychosomatic, where is this problem coming from? Where is this fear? Go back through the timeline, then we go into the womb, and then there's a couple of incidences in the womb, but that's not really it. Then we go back to the time before I entered the womb. And so I think what you just said, that its consciousness is with you, like
Yeah.
its essence is there, it's just not in a body
Yeah.
permanently, actually. If you feel that the soul of your baby is with you, it's because it is.
Yeah.
You know, and it's probably just sitting beside you there, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Well, kind of like our higher self is like behind us or
Yeah,
with us as well, right?
exactly,
So,
exactly. So when you do womb regression, they say, well, I'm in the kitchen and my mother's wearing a red dress and my dad's there with a yellow shirt and he looks a bit sad. Like the baby's not seeing that, is it?
no, yeah, exactly.
No, there's something else is seeing that.
Yeah, yeah, no. Oh, so cool.
It's so exciting.
Yeah,
I've heard people like explain in a different way that like the soul like comes in and out of the baby or is like in and out of being present, I guess, just to see just experience the density of being here. I don't know if that's relevant as well, but yeah.
yeah. It's
I haven't had kids, so I can't even
yeah.
yeah comment at all.
I know that
But
I like
yeah,
often have, sorry to talk over you, Biljana, but I know that I often have sort of like a conversation with my incoming baby, um, or incoming soul, I guess. And like I really feel that at the moment it's almost like it's experiencing everything that I'm experiencing. And maybe there's twofold. Maybe I'm like actually communicating with the actual physical being that's growing inside, because how I understand things is like you can talk to your body. So, because it's like the body itself has some level, I don't know if it's consciousness, but it's definitely sentient in some way, which what's the difference between sentient and consciousness? I don't really know. There's so many things we don't know. We try to put labels on it as you said earlier, but I think a lot of the stuff just doesn't have labels. It just is. But anyway, in trying to describe it in this 3D reality, I'm like questioning my whole pregnancy experience now because of this conversation. I'm like, am I actually, when I'm communicating with the baby, am I communicating with the physical baby? Am I communicating with the soul of my baby? Is it both? But I definitely will, like, I'll eat something or whatever. And if I like got like a turned off, I'm like, oh, you didn't like that one. And then I'd be like, oh, I'm like, oh, you really enjoyed this one. How was this experience? You know, and there's just this like internal conversation going,
That's
with my,
amazing
yeah.
that you have that. No, like really, really amazing that you have that level of, you have that relationship solid down because with the um with the regression, when we go back to the womb, well, we don't go back. The soul takes them back because it wants them to see something. The the baby, this is when I got confused, right? Because I'd studied Dolores Cannon for years. I read all her books, and then I became into the quantum healing. Then I went off into this other type of hypnosis for womb regression. And I was just like, this is a lot of information about the soul. And it's a lot of it is contradictory. However, life is contradictory. It's paradox. There's not right or wrong or this way or that way. It's all of it. And when somebody's in the womb, so let's say I'm inside of my mother's womb now. So every thought she has is my thought. Every feeling she has is my feeling. So the baby becomes the mom. Even if she's in an abusive relationship, the baby then takes that as abuse towards itself. Or if they're in a loving relationship and the dad really wants them as well, the baby, the fact that you're like talking to the baby and you're talking to that soul saying, what do you think of this? And gee, I don't think you like that very much. Like that is like, talk about the perfect pregnancy
Oh,
because yeah, it is because so much of I'm not enough comes because there was no there was no communication. You're in there a year, kind of like a year.
Yeah.
And no one is talking about you. You're not really wanted, right? And you're in there on your own in the darkness, and they're like, don't want to come out. It's that's a dangerous place, and these people live with high anxiety. So the fact that you're like, right, you're here. What do you like? What don't you like? That baby is coming into a safe world because it's already being seen, and it's not even here.
Yeah.
That's like that's for the psychology of your child, that you've now already imprinted safety and stability within your baby, and it's not even here. So
You're
well
gonna
done
make
to
me
you.
cry. This is so
No,
sweet.
it's actually really phenomenal that you're doing that, because your baby wanted you to do that, and
Yeah.
you caught it. You're
Yeah.
conscious enough to have a conscious pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
it's fabulous.
thank you.
Really, it's
Thank you.
fabulous. Like, yeah, because that kid's not going to need therapy, you see.
No. Hope not.
No, it's not going to need therapy because it's loved
Yeah. No, it's
and
definitely
wanted. Mm.
definitely love. I actually
That's
tell
cool.
it it's love pretty much every day. I might forget a day here or there, but there's
Yeah.
definitely multiple times a week where it's
But you love it, you see, already. You don't need to,
yeah,
like, the love is there's chemicals being released in your body. It knows
yeah,
it's loved.
yeah.
The
Even if I don't
intention.
physically
Yeah,
say it, yeah,
no. And that's
yeah,
nice too, isn't it, though?
yeah,
I
yeah,
love you. It's a lovely thing to hear.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
then I
but
get a I love you back too, which is kind of cool.
That's
It's
the best.
yeah, yeah. Like it's full on conversation. It's like me talking to myself, but
Yeah, but
I know it's
it's not.
not myself, if you know what I mean. You know, like it's
Exactly.
yeah. And it's interesting because I had somebody last week who, you know, when you're pregnant, they always ask you, how are you feeling? Because there's always a spectrum in how women can handle pregnancies, and it's different for everybody. And some people are really sick and some people aren't, and all of that. So I'm getting used to this constantly being asked, how are you feeling? And last week, it just like really like in that moment, I guess I hadn't fully thought about how I was feeling. And I just thought about it. I was like, you know what? I was like, I actually feel better now than before I was pregnant. So it's just to kind of
Mm.
set the bar of how awesome the pregnancy is going. I like feel better now than before.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It's so
but
lovely.
for
Yeah.
either of you, did you notice like your dreams change or
Hmm.
shift during the pregnancy?
I think for myself, I don't know if it's just because I myself am kind of have been evolving the last few months, and I don't know if that's evolving because of the pregnancy or it's just evolving on my level of consciousness. But um, I've noticed that I still have vivid dreams, but I'm not dreaming as much, or it's just like kind of coming in waves where it'll be like I do think you dream every night, but it's like the level of recall and the level that you might think that those dreams are important or whatnot. But I definitely have noticed it's like before the baby or before knowing I was pregnant or becoming pregnant, it was like all about me, you know, it was like go, 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 dreaming. Okay, what did this mean? Oh, okay, I got to work on this part of myself, you know, because I would have a dream about like my ex or something. And I was sitting with my ex having a normal conversation, and he had like cheated on me and stuff. And I woke up thinking, I was like, would I actually be able to sit down and have a conversation with him like that? And I was like, in this moment, no. And so it was like a reminder to, oh, I need to, you know, come to terms with something with that, forgive, or, you know, recognize that he had his own journey that he's working on, and, you know, coming to terms with it anyway. But yeah, for me, I think that because there's another soul, I guess it is, that's being incorporated in it. It's my dreams are still the same in that I still have vivid dreams. I still have messages that come through, but I think there's it's like conservative, I would like to say, because there's that level of protection that you have to have for the both the baby and the experience you have, because the thing that's growing inside of you, I don't like call it a thing, but you know, the
Mhm.
baby that's growing inside of you, there's a level of protection that your physical body has to do to keep it safe, and your soul or your spiritual body can impact your physical body. So there has to be that level of I don't know what the word is, but
I
yeah.
think you're right about that, because I found that the work, when I'm working or engaging spiritually, it's spiritually is the wrong word, but that's the only word we have, because we are spiritual beings. When I'm working with somebody, or when I'm doing some work on myself, like the body takes a hit, and people will disagree. And I've looked at this for years, trying not to let things affect me energetically, because I can get floored, when you go on journeys, you get floored, like with hypnosis, whether I'm on the bed or whether I'm the one with them. It's like the body takes a hit. So I think you're right that when you're pregnant, or when you're in a time of reflection, that those things are just turned down, because the body needs all of its resources to just be present in this moment, right? And as well as that, I think there's a certain level of protection that comes over a pregnant woman, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you're just more present in this moment, because you're making a human.
Yeah.
That's like that's like a nebula creating stars. It's really busy in there. There's like a starburst nebula going on. What's it called? What did they call them? Supernovas.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
cool. I
there's a
like that.
supernova. You're like a supernova for 9 months. It's like, whoa. And then after the baby comes out, man, it's just going to go whoomp. A river of that stuff is just going to come in. But right now, it's like there's a lot going on, isn't there?
Mm. Yeah, no, absolutely. But
Biljana, I just want to ask you a question, actually. Have you seen a movie
Yeah.
called Witness of Another World?
Mm.
You have to watch it.
Witness of Another World.
Actually,
Okay.
you both need to watch it. It's about dreams. It's about a
Yeah.
man called Juan. And this man is a beautiful human being. Witness of Another World. You can actually watch it free on YouTube. One of those sites has it up, and it's about a man who has experiences, and he had contact actually when he was a kid with ETs. The ship came down, and they touched him, and it changed him, and he had these dreams, and these dreams are prophecies and prophetic dreams, and they isolated him away from society because they were way too much. And it's my favorite thing to watch. It's the most beautiful documentary you've ever seen. But he's all about feeling and knowing and sensing. And with the dreams, he just feels and he knows things. And then he gets found by his original tribe. And you'll just cry your eyes out now when you watch this. You want to go cry? Cry, baby.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
I'm all for it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It really helps us understand what dreams really are.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
I
no.
love that. Like finding your tribe. That's where I'm at the moment.
Are you?
Yeah. Especially like because I've moved back to be with around family. As hard as that is, and then I suppose realizing that I am so different, but that's not a bad thing, that I don't have to fit in, and I can, yeah, still choose to go on my own path and find my own people, I guess. So yeah, that I like that.
Mm.
Want to watch that now?
Yeah, and finding your own tribe as well. Like I remember a few years ago, right? I was thinking like, I need new friends. Number one is I need friends, right? Because as you kind of develop on yourself, everything just kind of drops off, like everything. And I thought like,
Yeah,
yeah, I need some like-minded people in my life, not just like clients that come for spiritual journeys, but actually people in my life. And so I went in, when I was closing my eyes, I went into the space within myself, and I put in these like orders, and order like you would in a restaurant. Can I have bacon, with my whatever? Like I'll put in an order and it would be like I want to experience what it's like to be in a community of like-minded people. Like that's my cosmic order for today. Like, give that to the cosmic waitress. And it's like, okay, let's see what shows up. Because I can't see where they're going to come. Like, I'm not seeing that. Like, I can't figure out how that's going to happen. And so whenever I want to experience something in my reality, I go into myself, into that space, the unified field of myself, and I place it there. And then it just shows up here. And it just keeps doing that all the time.
It's amazing you say that, because
Beautiful.
that's actually how you came on the show. Because I had literally said to Biljana, I put a text, we have a chat back and forth, telegram chat. And I was like, oh, Biljana, I was like, we've only got like 3 more weeks planned out of guests on the show. It's like, we need to put vibes out into the universe that we need more guests to come in. So I sent that like message in the morning, and then I'm doing my, 3D job or whatnot. And I was just in the middle. I'm a patent examiner, so I look at patent applications. I was just in the middle of the job, and then just this name came through. It was like Biba. And I was like, oh, yeah, Biba. It's like, I used to listen to her podcast. I love listening to her. She's amazing. She would be great on our show. And I like immediately, like in the middle of my workday, emailed you. And then I was super excited when you got back 24 hours. And then I messaged Biljana, and Biljana's like, yeah, that's great. I love Biba. And so that's how you're here. We
That's
literally
exactly it.
manifested you into
Yeah.
this reality.
Yeah, because I got it was such a nice message. I was like, well, definitely, yeah, I want to be in your thing. So that's exactly how it works. So what I'll do is I'll test it with really big things like a community. I'm now in a group of people, and there's like 50 of us on WhatsApp. And some of us live in Ireland, but they live all over the world, and they ley lines things, and there's artists, and we've all come together because we all had the same intention at the same time. So I thought my community was going to be some tribe up a mountain, or I don't know. I had an idea, but my idea was what was stopping it coming, because I own a shop, right? I own a business, and I've had it for years. And I said to my friend, I said, I need another stream of income. You know what I mean? That doesn't actually, my stream of income is my shop, and that's how I make my money. And he was like, that's how you make your money, is it? That's how the universe provides for you. I was like, yeah, through my shop. So he says, I want you to now see yourself inside of the whole universe. And I want you to be in the universe. And I want you to see a door in the whole universe. There's one door, and that door is your shop. And the only way the universe can give you money is through that one door in the whole universe. I said, he said, do you see what you're limiting yourself to? Remove the door and just allow the universe to provide everything that you need. You're thinking it has to come through my business. That's the human structures. That's the programs. It's like, right, I need to remove the door. And he goes, yeah, remove the door and just see what happens. And it's just the perspective, the shift of perspective of like, what is a community, like-minded people? And then I was thinking, I couldn't live in a community now. I like my peace and I like my space, like all these obstacles. And then it was like, there's a group of us on WhatsApp, and we meet up once every second month in person and do amazing work together. And it's just like, it's like magic just showed up on my phone. And then you get to know people individually, you ring each other, and that's available to all of us. You just have to be open to how that looks. That community, that tribe, how it's not going to be how you think it is. It's never going to be how you think.
Because the moment you think it's a certain way, you're limiting what it could be.
Yeah. And it becomes so much more.
Yeah.
So much
like
more.
for you, Biba, it's probably so much more than what you'd imagined.
Listen, it's like we've all known each other in another time and place, and there's like 50 of us, and it's just incredible, this group that I'm on, and how I was going to set up a CE5 in Ireland, and all of that stuff, like and this girl contacted me because she wanted to do that, but we never did that. It just led into something else, and we really do shape and create our own worlds. So for me, it's about, how do I remove the limitations of my mind? And then I think, right, but how do I also just expand and think about something that I've never thought about, or what somebody else has thought about? Or how do so when I go into the quantum field of my own mind, into that space, what do you want? It's like, well, I need to just expand my thinking. But it's not my thinking. That's the wrong. It's about, how do I expand my imagination? So then I just go into the feeling of like, right, show me what's next. Show me what's next. So I say to my soul, show me what's next. I want to experience pure joy. Like, I want to be that in this place. I want to be love in this. I don't want to experience love. I want to be love. Like overflowing. It's pouring out of me, because when it's pouring out of me, it comes back to me tenfold. So it's the wording. I was always trying to expand my thinking, but actually it's the thinking that's not ever going to be expanded.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so true. And yeah, I do that before like going into my dreams. I may not have dreams, but I wake up feeling like there's a shift. And I'm doing it a lot with the weather, like shifting the weather with what I want. And it's been working. So
Exactly.
we're very powerful,
Through your dreams or just through intention?
both.
Okay. Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
So then have you had like a
Because
dream of rain or something and then rain came?
no, that's what I mean. Like there hasn't been dreams, but it's a time where um, you know, you're not thinking like when you're sleeping, you're not thinking in this reality. So it's I'm getting out of my way, basically. So, if I don't recall my dreams, it doesn't matter because it's still the work is still happening, I guess. And I think with the working with the ley lines as well, that's been a good intention. And yeah, my finding my tribe through those sorts of people that want to make a difference. And we know we're not in the same country, so being okay with connecting with people online, like Sarah and I haven't met in person, but we are, you know, having great connections. So for me, that was my like limitation I had to get rid of is like always having to have connections in person. So, it's important to get out of your own way so you can have these experiences and yeah, make friends.
I'm just feeling what you're saying, right? And it's exactly it, because thinking is matter. It's the physical, that this is a matter, this is material. So when we are energetic beings, we're made of frequency. So you two know each other. You don't need to ever meet.
No.
Like you haven't met your baby physically yet, but you know your baby. It's like that. It's the energy meets energy. So it doesn't have to be matter to matter. And that's a perspective shift for all of us. Because when I work online with people, I want to see you in person. And I do understand that's a very nice thing. However, I find personally, when I do my own journeys on myself with a friend, it's much deeper online. Much deeper. Like I'll go wherever it is I need to go. But when I'm with somebody, I'm so acutely aware of their energy, their feelings, their thoughts, all that stuff. And so I'm very distracted when I'm in somebody's energy field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you just get distracted by all of that stuff, whether you're aware of it or not. I'm very aware of it. And so when I'm at home, I'm just like, oh, you do you, because I just get to be myself. It's actually a relief not having to be with people
Yep.
all the time. And one thing I want to say about dreams, right, is I noticed when I started doing psychic work on myself, studies, learning different things, helping people, let's just say, right, being of service, that kind of term, that people will message me and say, you showed up in my dreams last night. You showed up in my dreams last night. You showed up in my dreams. And clients will say, I was going to book in and then you showed up in my dreams before I booked in. And that's quite regular. People say, or just before the session, you showed up to let me know it was going to be okay. And I saw this kind of common thread. And then I was at a psychic weekend, like a mediumship weekend, not to be a medium, just to expand my awareness. He said, you actually came into my room last night. Like we were having breakfast together. And I thought, he's a bit like, what's he talking about? He says, you came into my room last night. And I thought, okay, where is this conversation going? Like, do you know what I mean? And he goes, but it was only your head. And you were just looking at me and you were telling me that everything's going to be okay. He goes, like, you appeared at the end of my bed last night and you were helping me heal something. And I'm like, cool, that's kind of very cool. And he goes, were you aware of that? I said, no. And the reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of us think that we have to be doing something to make a difference. Okay, like for me, I was like, well, I have to do this, or like, I have to have like a position in this earth to be doing this to help that person or the earth. When we are sleeping, when the body's asleep, we're doing the work. We're doing the work, whether we're aware of it or not. It's happening.
100%.
it's happening. So people think, oh, like, I wish I was of service, but they have no idea what their soul is doing at night, going around and healing people, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There's been many dreams that I've had where I've actually have gone up and I've like hugged somebody in a dream, and I actually feel like the energy exchange or I don't know if it's necessarily an exchange, but I definitely feel like there's like a level of healing that's going on with that. So it's always nice to have those dreams, because we've talked before on the podcast where dreams are really just an extension of yourself. And I really do feel that I want to say that all dreams are just your experience, whether you're experiencing something that's going to come into this reality, or you're gone to some other dimension or some other timeline, whatever you want to call it. But I do really feel that all dreams are lived experiences, lived through consciousness, because that is how you're accessing those dreams. But there are some dreams I do feel that it's like, you know how like we talk about having out of body experiences. I definitely have had experiences where I've like have come into another version of me in another in another reality, which is also a very cool experience.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely lived experiences. I totally agree. And that's because that's where your consciousness is at. I mean, some people, their dreams mean nothing to them.
Yeah.
Or I had a dream that my granny was going to die, and they pay attention and they're like, oh, right, well, maybe she will, maybe she won't. Like, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful with the awareness that I came in with. And it's like I came in very aware, but it took me my whole life to figure that out. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know I was. I just knew a lot of things, but I didn't know I knew a lot of things. It was just, oh yeah, that's right. That's how that happens. And that's right. That's how it happens to them. It's like, it's not like you come in and knowing, but when something happens, you're like, I've seen this before. Like I was on a podcast. No, I was watching a podcast. This is where things get strange for me. This is everything else isn't strange up until like this. And I'm watching a podcast on a guy whose podcast I like. And I didn't particularly like the guest because I couldn't understand what he was saying, because he's a very heavy English accent, right? Not that I didn't like him. It was like just it was just I couldn't really get what he was saying. So I was really listening, and he was selling a book, and he had this big purple book, and he was like, all my ET experiences are in this book. And I was like, oh, I need to get that book because I can read it, right? So I put the podcast down. So 3 months later, I remember exactly where I was cleaning my kitchen. And because cleaning is extremely boring for me anyway. It's like how doing homework. So I always put a podcast on to distract myself. Okay. Yeah. From everything. And I put the podcast on, and it pops up, and I'm like, oh yeah. I'll go on, I'll watch it again, right? Because I was just really busy. I didn't have time to ponder, because you'd be scrolling forever, right? So I just listened to that again, and I was like, okay, I knew the intro. I was like, let's get over the intro. I know what happens. And the 8 hour difference, and his wife died, all of that. So then I'm halfway through this podcast, and I'm like, yeah. And then I stopped it. And then I went back later, and I looked at that podcast. For some reason, the podcast, I looked back on my history in YouTube, and it was like podcast. It was like that came out today. A podcast came out today. I was in the first time I saw it, I was in my kitchen. The second time I saw it, I was actually driving. That's what I was doing. And I got home and I was like, no, that podcast was a live conversation that happened today. Look at her giggling. So I contacted the host and I said, Steve, was that a replay? Did you put it up because you liked it? And he said, no, but that was a live conversation. And I just felt weird. Like I was just like word for word. Okay. So it's not like anything was different. And it made me realize that. So this podcast has already happened. Do you know? It's not happening now. It's already happened. And that's where I get, my mind can't get that at all. Can't get it. Just as it's
like
not, it's not computing.
Deja vu.
Yeah, like deja vu out on a next level. It's just like, and and then it was happening regularly. I'd seen that podcast, or there was on the bus, there was a movie coming out, and I was like, I've seen that movie. I know exactly what happens in it. I've seen it. It's like I even
Yeah,
know the music of that movie and it hasn't even been made. What is that? What is it?
yeah, yeah. I get that too. I feel like with everyone I talk to, I feel like I've heard the conversation before, like very regularly. Whether it's I've dreamt it, I've it's this the conversation's already happened and they're just repeating themselves, or something else. I
What is
don't
it?
know. So
Well, I think I mean, I don't know everything, but I have a little bit of an explanation for it. And I also have another thing, which is maybe I'll explain what I think it is first, and then I'll put the other layer on. Time is a construct of our 3D reality. So this linear, like this happens, this happens, this happens, whatever. It's something that's been constructed so that our 3D brain or whatever you want to call it can actually just understand some form of reality, I guess. But beyond this dimension, time doesn't exist. It's the past, the present, the future, everything all exists simultaneously at once. And so um that's why like when you have a dream and then like that dream comes through and or even just saying that this podcast has already happened, it has already happened because we're multidimensional beings. We've already experienced everything that there is to experience. We're just it's almost like we're in this 3D reality to actually experience it play out in a 3D sense, which is also kind of weird. But what I think is happening, because we're all the collective consciousness is expanding, elevating. I don't really like the word elevating, but we're definitely expanding and moving beyond the 3D physical, I think. And some people talk about the veil and how the veil has like actually been kind of taken down or it's thinned a whole lot. I've noticed that even people who aren't fully awake yet are starting to have that experience of experiencing the time beyond the 3D. So like the other night I was sitting with my fiance and we were having a conversation and then all of a sudden he's like, we've had this conversation before. And he's not awake. He doesn't even believe it. Or I think deep down he does, but like just his logic brain at the moment doesn't even believe in souls. So, but he was like, we've had this conversation before. I was like, oh, is it like a dream or what it was? And then it was funny because then the conversation shifted just a little bit because like some money came up or whatnot. He's like, this wasn't part of the conversation before. This has taken a turn for the worse, or something like that. But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's time doesn't exist beyond the 3D, and I think that we're collectively shifting such that time is becoming, and you even mentioned it earlier, where I don't remember exactly how you put it, but you said like the last 6 months you've noticed a shift in time where your mother was like asking what day it is and that sort of thing. And I have actually experienced that too, where I'll wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Friday. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And then my brain like clicks in. And it's like, no, it's Monday. So it's like it's like my consciousness already knows what's coming, but the physical reality hasn't got to that point yet.
It's nice, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. And then the more you're aware of it, like you said, you get to play, right? Then you can
Yeah.
really,
And you get to forget everything as well.
yeah, that's true.
Everything. Look, I'd have to think about yesterday to remember it. Like I'd have to really
Yeah.
think about it.
yeah,
It's just not there. It's not, and I'm thinking, is it what they're putting in the water? Is it like, and I'm thinking, no, this is when I did the conversation with the walk-in, he was talking about this and he said, you just it's like you're moving so fast through time that's not even there. That yesterday could be 100 years ago. It's like nothing, and it's happened since COVID, really. Nothing is adding up. Days, times, days. It's 6 months, and someone say, no, that was 3 years ago. You're like, but
Yeah.
that was like, you know what I mean? Time has
yeah.
become warped,
Yeah.
finally.
Well, it's
Very fast
and I think
lately.
it's because what's happening is there's a lot of split in different timelines, or where we were on some certain trajectory, and it's like now we've hit a point where now we can actually it and it's interesting you say COVID was a big impact. What happened in COVID was actually a backfire to the original plan by whatever nefarious beings are out there. It backfired on them because it was meant as to lock more people into control and to keep us locked into the reality that they want us to have. But what happened was it woke people up. And the more people that woke up, then the more consciousness is expanding and elevating or whatever it is. And then, so now you, instead of having, just to put numbers on it, instead of having 5 people who are fully, I know it's a lot more than this, but just the number, instead of having 5 people that are aware and awake of what's going on, now you have like 20 people. And that, it's exponential in terms of the elevating. And if each person is aware that there's more beyond this reality, that means they're accessing the other dimensions. That means they're accessing where time doesn't exist. And then that's coming into this reality. So it's really made everything go.
It's great.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. It's a fun time to be here. That's for sure. And what's beautiful is that we've all chosen to be here for this too. I don't know if the word is to make sure, but it's to experience it, but it's to keep us going on that trajectory that it's not going back in time or reversing because time doesn't exist, but it's to keep us moving to the golden age, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Big time.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, there's no way I was rewinding back to something that's not happening, that's not real. Well, I'm being not locked into somebody else's version of reality, and I don't care what dimension they're from, because it's not real. It's just not real. I only want what is real. I only want what is real, and what's real because it feels right.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Right? It just how do you know what's real? Well, because you'll know.
And it's like, for me, it was a big part of my wake up was just one day. Like, I used to take the weight of the world on my shoulder. There's so much shit going on in the world, and you just constantly in fear and anxiety and this big spiral down. And I just woke up one day and I was like, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I was like, I want love every day. I want adventure. I want to just live life the way it's supposed to be lived. And then when you make that shift, it's like all of that just fades away, and then you just get to experience life as it's meant to be experienced. And what's great and what's so cool about like Narita's podcast, I'm actually really sad that she's closed it down. I know she's got to shift into the next stage, and she's doing amazing things or whatnot, but it was like an excitement for me every week to have a Rock the Ripple episode come out. But the title of her podcast is so incredibly powerful, Rock the Ripple, in that, if one person changes their perspective or changes, becomes that embodiment of love and just radiates love, it's not just you're affecting everybody around you. And then each person that you affect, then you're raising or allowing them to irradiate love. And then you're literally having a ripple effect of love. And that's how we are going to continue on this trajectory that we're on.
Yeah, activation time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And actually there's 2 things I just want to come up there with you, which are nice to know. Is first thing is like, I could be selling flowers or doing quantum healings or working in it, wherever. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It's what I am. And when I'm aware of what I am, I'm activated. And so when somebody comes to me, or when somebody is a frequency, like a hertz is aligned to me, for whatever, buying flowers or quantum healing, it's irrelevant. They will be activated, because it's just a mirror effect, isn't it? Because they're they're attracted to that because that's what they are already. So I really like you. And it's like, well, yeah, because you like me and you. It's like you like yourself, not that you like me. You see something in me that you like, which is yourself. And then that's reflected to them and they're activated. And you said something there about, I learned this yesterday, right? You were like taken on the weight of the world. Obviously, you're very empathic, right? And then you decided you didn't want to do that anymore. So you shifted that's actually a thing called the champion molecule. And Dr. Joe Dispenza has done a lot of research on this scientifically. It's called I call it the super hero molecule. It's when you decide to go for a run, but then the other part just wants a cup of tea and it doesn't want to go for a run. This is what my friend was telling me yesterday. But then the part of you says, no, I do want a cup of tea, but I've made a decision. I need to go for a run for my health. And so there's a moment, and you activate something called the champion molecule. And when you activate that, it gets more room. And so the one that wants the cup of tea and not to do the lazy molecule, I call it, because I had to contend with that for a long time, lazy bones. It's like, no, I keep making better choices that are in alignment with what feels right. And so what you did there is you shifted your timeline. Isn't it? You're the quantum leaping through yourself. And so these are like, put one of those helmets on. These are scientifically proven, actual physical things, neural pathways and molecules. So when you activate that, it creates more of them. So the next time you want to go for a run, then it's like the T option doesn't come in. You're just going for a run. And then the more better decisions that you make, the more of that molecule gets turned on and activated. So that's also creating your own world. Because if I say, no, well, I just couldn't be bothered again, and then feeling defeated in the morning, I'm just done being defeated by myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm so done.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of Dr. Dispenza, but I've not heard the champion molecule. I like that. And my background is actually in chemistry. So now I'm like thinking like, oh, does he actually have like a structure for the molecule?
All of it. He has all of the patterns. You're going to love it. He made a documentary called The Source. And all the science team is talking in that documentary. If you're into that type of language, you will enjoy that documentary because it's all people like with minds like you talking. So you'll just like that.
Yeah, no.
For me, it's just like, no, I just want to feel good. It's too much information.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. In our early days on the podcast, especially like when we were talking about like substances and stuff that sometimes can affect your dreams and whatnot. And I just remember like my like chemistry brain just turned on. I'm like, sorry, audience, here's a whole little blurb about the science of your body going on here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I mean, this has been a fantastic conversation, and I feel like we literally could talk for hours, and maybe it just means that you have to come back at another time. But I still feel that there's just a couple, maybe a little bit more superficial questions that I'd like to ask.
Superficial.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right word. What are words, right?
I don't know. I haven't got a clue.
So Biljana, we always try to ask this to our various guests because it's, not only are we individuals that experience things very differently, but like I find that the dream experiences are quite different as well. And so two questions that come up for us that we just like to ask our audience just so we could, just have an idea of how people are is about dreaming in color, if you dream in color or not. I've actually have dreamt in cartoon a few times, which is kind of fun. Some people dream it in black and white. And then the other question is what perspectives your dreams are normally in. Like, do you normally have like this bird's eye view, or are you like, kind of first person, you're like in the moment, experiencing it? Those are they're not superficial questions, but they're definitely not on the level of conversation we've had today. They're more like
no, they're good questions. They're practical questions.
Yeah, exactly. Practical. I'll use that word instead.
Practical, as in like, yeah, it's information that helps. So when I dream like I'm seeing you now. It's no difference but it's much more vivid, right? Everything's just much more alive and more vivid. And like you, I'm very visual. So I see even now, like I can see, it's like tracing paper. When you're younger, you can overlay. Like I can see dimensions sometimes come into this dimension. I can see overlays. So visually, everything looks the same. It's just more enhanced. It's more tropical colors or something. And then when I'm dreaming, I'm usually observing myself, but if it's a traumatic dream, I am myself. I'm in my
Mm.
body. I'm not like I'm looking through my eyes in my dream. If it's a heavy dream or if it's intense or a bit of a nightmare, it's always like I'm having that experience. But if it's something else, I'm always just observing it like a witness,
Mm.
very much in the feeling of it though, do you know? Just a
Yeah.
different perspective. So I'm not detached from the feelings. It's like when I do quantum healing with people, I say, how do you see yourself? And they'll go, well, I see myself looking through the window. And then I'll say, now I want you to go in, look through the eyes of the person that you're, and they go, oh, right. So, because we can shift, right?
Mm.
It's like that. It's like that. It's like the kids that are blindfolded and they're being taught how to read. Caroline Corey did a lovely documentary there called Superhuman or something. And there's loads of these schools popping up all over the world finally that are working with these kids that are highly tuned. And they're blindfolded and they're able to read books
Mm.
because the teacher says, because your consciousness sees everything before your eyes see it.
Yeah.
The eyes are the delay.
Yeah.
You're
100%.
already, yeah. So maybe like the podcast or the conversations, I've already had this, but these eyes then have to catch up.
Yeah. The eyes have to catch up in that the eyes are like the receiving of the information. It's
Yeah.
light comes into the eyes and all information data is coming through light, and then the brain then gets in the way and starts to process it and starts to file it, and
Yeah.
it tries to organize it all and make sense of it all. And that's where you need to have the blend of the logic side of the brain and the intuitive side, so that you don't let the logic side of the brain completely take over and completely compartmentalize and explain everything, because it needs to know exactly how things happen. Whereas the intuitive side's like, no, this is just is, Don't need to
Yeah.
explain it all the way. No, that's, yeah.
My logical brain gave up. It did. It's wonderful because it's like it doesn't have the mind has no comprehension of spiritual matters. It's not just it's a GPS sat nav for coordinates for this 3D reality to get you from A to B and to figure things out. It's not designed to go in through your heart and travel into the universe of yourself. It's not designed for that. Your heart is designed for that. Your soul is designed for that. So if I live in my mind, man, that is like living inside of a dot inside of the whole universe. Instead of saying, well, I am the universe. It's like, no, you're not one star. You are it all. You're all of your space in between the stars. And for people, they just have to understand that they are already that. It's just kind of giving yourself a bit of an opportunity not to be so unsure of yourself all the time. Like, but is it? But is it? Like, did my cat talk to me in my head? Yeah, your cat talks to you in your head. Of
Yeah.
course it does. What it's there for. It's there to teach you telepathy, and compassion and all those things. So just believing a little bit in yourself that you are right when you say that person's wrong. They shouldn't have said that. Yeah, they shouldn't have said it. Instead of saying, well, maybe they are right and I'm wrong. That kind of way. People are always doubting themselves. It drives me mad. I'm like, stop doubting your intuition. Stop.
No.
Stop doubting your intuition. The day I stopped doubting my intuition, my mind took a backseat and it's just stayed there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even have to tie it down. It's just sitting there looking, going, okay, what about work? I'm like, what about work? Like, seriously, well, why do I have to work? Why do I have to work to make money? Like, what is that? And we'll go, and I'll go, but you're just a program.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to teach me how to make dinner tonight. Don't worry about anything else. And then I'll say to the universe, I just want to be supported in this life without having to constantly work so hard to make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Like, come on.
it's
I want to
beautiful.
hang out with my cats.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's not asking too
So
much.
true. And my snoring dog. That's why I'm
Exactly.
muting myself.
Is he snoring that loud? I haven't heard it.
Me neither.
No.
Thank you so much for bringing me on. It's been really lovely to just have this chat, actually. I've not done a double chat. It's kind of like, okay,
Yeah. Who do you
it's
look
lovely.
at?
It's like the energies go like this. It's really nice.
Yeah, and you're in the middle, so you're like
I'm
bouncing
banging it. I'm
between.
so content right here, right now. It's been really, really nice, ladies. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was so
absolutely.
good to just sit here and listen, um, people like you that are just like um, enjoy like the silence in between and not having to fill it and just talk. But like you said, you put your minds at the back, and it's so refreshing because when you're talking to people that talk really fast and they're like, I just, "Ugh," it's refreshing to like to talk to someone like you, and it helps you slow down and you know take the time to express yourself, I guess. So yeah, thank you. It's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah,
You're naturally like that though. You're naturally
yeah,
on a certain rhythm, and so you have the ability to slow it down because people don't like
yeah,
space. They don't like the
yeah,
spaces. They feel uncomfortable. So I, on purpose, in my podcast, don't talk sometimes at all. And the people are looking at you to respond, and I'll just sit there.
It's funny you say that because I was actually going to make a comment about that, but it was more of a like a commending you or complimenting you on that ability to do that. I've noticed it throughout the episode, and like I would say something and you would just be like silent for a moment. I was like, oh no, she doesn't know what to say, or there's something, and then you would come back and you say the most profound thing. I was like, no, she was just really listening, and then
Really
taking
listening.
really, really listening, and then taking the moment to then process and then respond. And so I have a lot of
Yeah.
respect on how you did that. It's
You know,
I
it's
could learn a lot.
great. No, it's great because, like you, I was like, when you're in a podcast, like you have to kind of be alert because, you just want the guest to be comfortable in it to flow. But I noticed that actually, I'm not interested in anything like that anymore. I just don't care.
No, you just want
But
the conversation.
I'm interested in it feeling there's an energy, the frequency that wants to always land in this place through all of us. And when I listen to you, and then I'd have to communicate from my heart. So my mind can say anything it wants to say. It can say a million different things. But what does my heart? How does my heart respond? And it just takes a minute for me to make that choice. Where am I going to answer from? Because this is smart arse up here, but down here is just the authenticity of sometimes there's nothing to say, and you just go, yeah, that's lovely. And
Yeah.
even in my work in quantum healing, like people will be in hypnosis and they're talking, and I just have nothing to say. I thought I shouldn't be doing this, and then I thought, no, it's actually that's what they need is that space. They need you're allowing them experience. You're not over layering them with plans. Like just let them fly. Let them be uncomfortable. Like let them. Isn't that the video? 2.4 million views. Let them.
Yeah.
It's a new thing. Just let them. Let them.
Let them
So
be.
yeah, so Biljana, you have a natural ability to. You're very slow. You have a lot of information. So Sarah, you're like a computer, right? Processor. There's a lot of experiences, and they know how to be articulated. So you two are very well matched because Sarah, you're able to articulate a lot of spiritual concepts very fast, and Biljana, you're in the knowing zone. So it's not got the information, it's just got the vibration, is what it is. They're both equal. It's just how your souls operate. So you both have real ability to really help people see the way two different people can flow.
Oh, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
it's
like
amazing actually.
yeah, it's like having the polarities. You're negative and positive. You're it's yeah. I wouldn't say it's good and bad. It's having the opposites working together
Big
is,
time.
and that's why I'm enjoying it because we don't feel and think the same. We don't think of dreams the same, but it's the end result is we're trying to figure ourselves out and express our enjoyment of talking about dreams with people to help them understand themselves. So, you know,
Big time. It's
Yeah,
great.
that's it.
absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
That's
it.
it.
It's
Till
it's
next
really
time.
awesome how you like are basically able to sum Biljana up, at least in the context of this podcast, really well. And
Mm.
it's funny because we have a lot of other little projects going on as well. Like we're in the process, or at least in the planning stages of writing a children's book, and then also an adult book related to
Mm.
dreams, and some other ideas that are coming to the forefront. And a lot of the times it's like we don't even have to fully communicate, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. It just like naturally we just like fall into what
Oh,
part
nice.
we're going to be working on. So it's really, really kind of cool.
I don't know in what world writing a book is a little project. To me, that's a monumental project. Like I couldn't even get my head around that.
Yeah, well, it's funny because it came up in a conversation a long time ago, well, a while ago anyway, and somebody asked me like, "Oh, what's the last book you read?" And this was like I was just in the middle of writing my PhD thesis, and then somebody's like, "Well, Sarah, you've the book that you've read is what the book that you're writing. You're technically writing a book of your research." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess I kind of have written a book," um, but it's writing a book, yes, can be a big task and daunting, but the key with everything is just to have the organization and the planning. And as we've talked about, like this podcast has already happened. The book, I've even said this to Biljana, like the books that we want to write for the dreams. I'm like, the books are already written. They're
Hmm.
already done. We just have to just like tune in and just allow the information to come
That's
in
right.
so we can translate it in this world. So
That's right.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there anything else on your heart, Biba, that you would like to share today for our audience, or even just for yourself or for Biljana and I, but just something that's on your heart that you'd like to speak?
Well, the only thing that really I'd ever say to anybody is just learn to connect to yourself and to plants and to animals. Like connect to everything. Like I was pulling the curtains the other day and they spoke to me. I'm like, and then my friend said, she says, but they're made of fabric from the earth. And I'm thinking that's just a bit far out. Like everything is communicating with me all the time. So I'm never lonely or feel alone. I'm totally loved the whole time because I'm constantly in communication. My plant over there is a 7 foot plant that's looking at me going, clean me. And my cats, and like you just learn to communicate with everything equally, not just people, but things like the earth and the sun and the plants. Like that's where the real, for me, the whole joy of life is my communication with it.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. It
Love it.
definitely
Thank
resonates
you.
with me. It's it's a good reminder for people definitely to
Mhm.
develop that communication with everything in this reality in
Mhm.
this life. And you say about your plants and you've got the 7 foot plant that needs cleaning. I probably should talk to my plants a little bit more, but the very least, it's like I walk by and I was like, "Oh, you need water, don't you?" And I get a little like, "Yes, I need
Yes,
water. Please give me water."
definitely.
Yeah.
So then
So
you just
Yeah.
stop what you're doing in that moment and you water it.
yeah, exactly.
Like
Absolutely.
you just honor that connection. It's like, okay, I'm going to do that for you right now. And then it's like, finally, she's listening.
And then I also do the thing like, because you never know how much water to go, right? So I pour some and I was like, "Do you need more?" Yes. It's like, "Okay, is that enough?" Yes, yes, that's good. No more.
Exactly. It's lovely. Well done.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Um,
Okay,
thank you.
ladies.
Thank you again, Biba. This has been
Yeah,
an
thank you.
absolute joy, and I'm sure that our audience will the ones that are meant to hear it will definitely be here to hear it, and that's something I'm looking forward to.
It's
Um,
been lovely to speak
just
to you both.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
And of
Okay,
course,
lovely.
thank you to all of our dear listeners. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and please stay tuned for lots more to come from Dream Oracle for you. And as always, everyone, please just keep on dreaming.